Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Muller, and I'm with New Media Ranch. And I'm here today, and I have the pleasure today of interviewing Jessica Peterson, who is one of the people behind Purpose Powered People. And we're going to find out a lot about Jessica today. So, my first question to you, Jessica, is how did you get involved with Purpose Powered People, and what's that all about?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Mark, for having me. And that is a great question. So, um, being an entrepreneur, owning several different companies, I really noticed that once I knew who I was and my purpose, every company just excelled and grew. And the infamous Gary Barnes and Tanya Waring, they're so amazing with Tanya's publishing skills and marketing skills and Gary Barnes' business smarts. We all just started having a conversation about getting this message out there, not just our stories, but other people's stories, and sharing it out there in the world, because each one of these stories have touched my heart in one way or another. And it's already been life-changing for me, and how exciting to know that it's going to do that for others.
That's great. So, tell us about your businesses and your career choice to get to that point.
Okay. So let's see here. A long, long time ago, I actually started working at the age of 10, and I won't give you too long of a story, but we didn't grow up very wealthy, very humble means. And I always joke with people, it paid a little bit to be poor at times. I have a funny story about that. But at the age of 10, I started cleaning for three doctors, and in high school, back at middle school, I was excelling in math, so they kept skipping me middle school and high school several years in math. And I remember I really wanted to work with children in psychology, and my father said, no, you're going to go into banking. And back then you just say, okay. So I started a banking career in 1994, and just instantly won top sales, kept growing and growing and expanding. And it wasn't too much of a magic secret formula, except for just take an interest in people. But through my career, my 20-year career in the banking, financial, mortgage arena, I started getting excited over social media. And I remember in 2008, I joined Facebook, and I told all my friends, you got to join Facebook. This is so awesome. They're like, oh, whatever. But by the end of the year, they were all addicted to it. And I instantly dove and spent way too much time in social media, learning what works, doesn't work. I invested money taking this class, and it was constantly evolving. And what I discovered is when I left a banking career, Mark, it was a really difficult moment. So my husband and I have been married for 18 years, and it was actually in the fall of 2009. And I'll never forget, he kept begging me to leave the career. He was a stay-at-home dad. He said, it's way harder work than going to work. He goes, I have a lot of respect for moms. I was a career woman, but I was working 7 days a week, morning till night. And so 6 months, he begged me to quit. And I'll never forget that day when I actually got really sick. I'm on a breathing machine. My grandmother who helped raise me died. I'm sick. A girlfriend of mine I just spoke to died in child labor. All this just came down, and I just said, you know what? I'm still having to work. And it was that moment. It was the best decision ever. I left the industry. I gave all assets. That's the only regret I have, is I gave all assets to my partner. At the time, she was happy at the time, but I gave her all assets. And I walked away, and people just kept coming to me and asking me, how did you do this on social media? How did you do this? So I started coaching 2011, officially opened in March 2012.
Wow. I mean, if you mind me asking, what you said you were on a breathing apparatus? What was that?
Well, I guess they said I got swine flu. I don't know.
Oh,
They have a different term for it. So, and I have asthma. So anyhow, asthma doesn't really flare up, but that was one of the worst flus I think I've ever had in my entire life. I woke up and I thought my husband dumped water on me, and I realized I just sweated so much. But
so
yeah,
were you? What I mean, when you got the interest in social media, were you applying it in your business at the time, or?
absolutely. Yeah, that's how I had huge success through my company, was through social media. And I was learning, but what was so fascinating, Mark, it's the same old-fashioned principles applied to modern day technology. So many people are looking for a short, fast buck, easy, simple. I guess you can call it easy, but it's not that complicated. But really, it's merging the two together. And the secret, when I kept being asked about winning top employee, top sales over and over and over, and I just simply said it's taking an interest in someone. You take that same principle in the social media, and good things will happen.
So with the social media and you've made it into a business, how did you make it into a business? What services do you provide?
So we've evolved through the time on that. We used to do more of the management. Now I have a great team that I brought in for the management. And really what I discovered is a lot of people wanted to know the secret formula I developed, my 4-step platform. And I really found that there were 4 steps to success of social media. And I thoroughly enjoy coaching, consulting. I have amazing clients around the world to work on those secret 4 steps. And some clients we need to keep working on a regular basis. Some clients just soar and fly on their own. I love it. And Mark, what I love is not only does their business grow, their online presence, but they have richer meaning in their lives. When you have clarity on who you are in your business, when you have clarity on growing those personal relationships, good things happen.
So when you were developing, these 4 steps, is that, do you attribute that to making you successful in this part of your career?
Yes, and it took me many years to create that magic formula and develop it, but absolutely, it's the 4 success principles.
So can you maybe explain those things and how, by someone coming to you, how they could benefit by connecting with you?
So those 4 steps, the first one is really your image. Are you portraying who you are? Are you attracting people? Are you detracting people? Really going in. I mean, I even have people I hire to work with me through my social media as well, because it's always good to have that other opinion, insight, info. And I have had actually quite a few social media experts as clients, which I feel honored to be selected. The step 2 is really building those relationships, those power relationships where you'll be seen and known in front of massive people. I have a friend yesterday said, Jessica, you got to get to know this guy. He's got 1.4 million followers. So that one's going to be a little bit trickier, but it's really about developing relationships and bringing value to them. And then step 3 is communication, and time management. A lot of people have said Jessica's a social media communicator, the social media time management, because time is valuable. 1 hour a day, you and I have had this conversation, Mark, 1 hour a day over a year is 9 weeks of 40-hour weeks. So if you could just cut down an hour a day, that's gifting yourself 9 weeks of vacation. And what to say and to communicate, because just because someone's not liking, commenting, sharing your post does not mean they're not watching you. I hear over and over and over from people who reach out and say, I've been watching you and I'd like to talk about working together. And you're sitting there thinking, who is this? Because they've never interacted. And then the final step is advertising. You and I have had conversations, Mark, how it keeps changing over and over and over, right?
I can't believe the technology and how fast it's moving. And I have a hard time doing it, and I appreciate anyone that does keep up with it, especially in social media. So what results have you created for businesses? I mean, when they do your process, what's the benefits to them?
Depending on each customer and their goals. So I've had some clients say, Jessica, we want to grow our referrals from our current database. We want to feel connected with them. We want to win an award. I've had several clients who've dreamed an award. They won it. I keep hearing from clients they're more connected with their clients, which does assist with retention and word of mouth marketing. And it's good to have that bond. I mean, I have many dollar testimonials. People with some of the richest real estate in the world reached out about potential buyers and free PR. I always love free PR. And then, I've had clients, a raving fan, $32,000 in the first 15 days. I mean, it really depends on the client's goal. Some companies are already so successful, they just want that retention, that good image, where some people want to grow. And for our agency, it's not just about growing your business, it's about growing your relationships and enriching your life as well.
So does that make you, is that how you differentiate yourself from other people that are doing social media?
That's probably one way. We talked about the 4 steps and really expanding. Another way that makes us different is probably experience. Another way is we're not just about business, but really about the relationships and people who want to make an impact in this world and in their lives. Because recently I gave a TEDx talk, And in there, and the subject's the impact of social media. And I was so fascinated that studies have shown the top regrets of ones who are dying. And over and over and over, they're noticing a pattern. It's not staying in touch with people.
Yeah, I mean, so many people say, I've used social media and I've failed. And is it just because you emphasize the fact that it's about people and putting people together, and instead of doing it technically and just posting things and hoping that something happens, it's that interaction, correct? I mean, it's.
Well, that's one major part. And a lot of people fail because when I ask them, do you have a plan? They always say no. Well, our business we plan, social media you should plan. I always use that illustration of a house. You wouldn't just start building a house, or you wouldn't start putting on a roof when you don't even have the walls up, right? So it's that systematic planning and system, and relationships is definitely one key part.
So, you're at a very successful point. I mean, you've done TED Talks and this and that. And can you explain how in your childhood passions or experiences, how did that get you to where you are today?
Here I was doing all the interviews and asking everyone else those questions, and I never really stepped back to reflect on my own answer until today, Mark. I thought, oh man, he's going to ask me this. And, my childhood, obviously, without going into a lot of details, it wasn't really the greatest or the best. I remember in high school, they told my sister and I, we have a special program with 5 kids who have the worst childhood, and you are 2 of the 5 selected to go through the special counseling program. And I remember as a kid, or I don't know if you really call it a kid, a teenager, because I was in high school, sitting back thinking, who says that and who dwells on that? And always I was such a positive go-giver, go-getter, I know there's some common terms out there, person. And I think where it really came from is the aha moments when I went through hard, challenging times. I mean, my mother, I love her now. I mean, she left us kids, wanted nothing to do with us. She tried to take her life and she was in a coma. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And it was really difficult, but at the same time, I remember reflecting, why focus on all the negative, and let's focus on the positive. And just like that funny story, we grew up really poor out in Oregon, and we moved from the city. So actually the high school was one of the first high school shootings. Fortunately, I wasn't there at the time, but it was my high school was one of the first ones. And we moved out to the country, and we moved into a mobile home, and there was massive flooding where the fire department came and said, you have 20 to 30 minutes to be out of your home. And that was an experience as a kid. And the flooding was like 5 feet high, and it just flowed under our mobile home and didn't ruin anything. So I would say it pays to be poor. But also looking back, a great influence in my life is my grandmother. She helped raise me. She was there for me. She was so happy and so positive and loving and caring. She's a feisty little thing. She's a real McCoy, and I miss her tons. And she had such a huge part in my life. And unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, when I lost her unexpectedly and I was sick with the swine flu and my friend died in childbirth and all that craziness, it hit pretty hard. And I miss her tons, and I have to contribute a lot to her in my life.
So, I get amazed every time I talk to you, because, I mean, this isn't the only business you have, the social media. I mean, you have a few businesses, or at least one other one that I know about.
Yeah, we have a couple others. So each one of them serve a purpose. So I always tell people, my ultimate thing is to give people a hope. And I'm known as a supporter, connector, and protector. So everything I do has to align with those 3. And a gold club, I'm part of a gold club. That is such a fascinating story. I'll attempt to give you the 2-minute version, Mark, because people are blown away. I'm still blown away. My husband had an 11-year career in flooring. I was shocked he had that passion for so long. And I'll never forget the day he came to me and he said, I no longer have this passion. And I looked at him and I said, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know. We went to Belize for 28 days, volunteered, just wherever life took us, helped a girl get married, and on and on and on. We came back and everyone's telling him what he should do. So anybody reading or watching this, if you have all these people telling you what you should do, just tune it out. And I just told him, I said, screw what everybody else is saying. What do you want to do? And he said, I really want to do something with gold, but I'm not quite sure. And he said the look on my face was panic. So I'm thinking, are we going to be gold panning? Because his dad used to gold pan. I'm like, oh, I'm a city girl. I'm not going to go back to country life. And but it was the next day or two, a friend of ours, highly successful, amazing gentleman, came to us and said, hey, I'm in a gold business. And my husband's like, we have to talk. And so that company has evolved almost 2 years, almost 4,000 sales affiliates in the gold. And the more I've learned about gold, and the more I feel as if my protector and supporter side, I have to go out there and support people with their dreams, because you can make pretty good money in gold. And then I also like to protect people and educate them. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there about the economy, but keep it positive, keep it real, and educate people. So that's one of the companies. And then another one was when my husband for several years kept tying those fancy ties. Have you ever seen them, Mark?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the bow ties. Yeah.
Well, that Eldridge, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to tie one?
No, I haven't. No, I don't wear ties.
That's awesome.
Well, as you can see.
Well, I don't wear them either.
Yeah.
I've never even tied a tie. But men were complaining of 20 minutes to 2 hours if you're a newbie, of these fancy ties. And my husband said, I have to do something about this. So he developed and patented the tie where you just strap on the Velcro under 10 seconds. And it's about supporting ones with disabilities who are unable to tie a tie. It's about giving men back their time so they could be with their loved ones or not be late for a meeting. And what I love, Mark, is men are saying that they're gaining confidence. And I have to support, again, that supporter. I have to be a supporter in that men's confidence and having them go forward and feel good about themselves and their life. So, and we have a couple other companies that, but those are just the main ones we'll focus on.
So, I mean, if you could give the audience a tip, how do you juggle it all, or how do you keep your focus, or is there a secret formula? Because I'm exhausted just listening.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a really common question. So I actually wrote a blog post on that, and people are saying they really like the blog post. I always joke coffee. I really say hire, delegate, plan, take control of your time so it doesn't take control of you. Those are probably some of the key different areas. In case you can't tell, I'm a very structured planning type person.
So if someone could describe you in 3 words based on all this, what would that be?
Probably a connector, supporter, and protector. But ultimately, I love to give people a hope. I had the honor, I was asked to actually go out to Africa and represent the women in America. And I was nominated, and I spoke with a gentleman, he's running for president. And, he wanted me to go out there, really encourage the women to not sell themselves into slavery and to go to college. But in our conversations, I said, instead of just encouraging people to go to college, that they can simply drop out, you got to give people a hope. And so besides for my business, supporter, connector, protector, I also, for me personally, besides being a wife and a mom, I love to give people a hope.
So, you explain those businesses. So what's important to you outside of your life? I know you have, one child or 2 or?
One. We were told we could never have any children. Unfortunately, we lost 2, but she's a blessing. She's so amazing, and I just love her with my whole heart and soul. And so, and I love to volunteer. School districts are very important to me to volunteer and give back. And I obviously have other charities I love to volunteer and give back. There's quite a few, but I love to read. I'm a reading nerd. I used to try and sneak out of recess and go read. And I love to read. I love to travel.
Where do you like to go? What's your favorite country?
Well, I think that's hard to say since there's so many I haven't visited yet. So I do have some. I want to backpack Europe for a month. We're making plans to go to Thailand for a month.
Wow.
I've been to Africa, Spain, Mexico, Canada. I'm Canadian and American, so I have both of that. Been to quite a few. Belize, 28 days in Belize.
So do you take your child and what's her name? It's a her, right?
Yeah, it's a her. Her name is Cadence.
Okay.
Cadence. Yeah, I usually take her.
Your husband participate, or?
Yeah, he participates too. I say if we're going to go away for business, we're going to make it fun and make it a family event. And
So do you stay away from the computer when you're on these trips? Or do you have the sat phone where you get it all out and set up shop?
uh, I usually set up shop. I typically do, although I did win a cruise not too long ago, and to have it was from Friday afternoon to early Monday morning, and to have no internet was it was a trip. It was.
Isn't it amazing how we are so tied to technology? I was just on a boys trip and the internet kept going out and there was 13 guys in a room going, "Get the internet back! Get the internet back!"
I know. It's so fascinating. So part of our company, we go in and structure time per minute. You know what you should be doing for you based on your company plan. And what I've really discovered though is even with that, I mean, people are addicted. And unfortunately, I do work with people who are addicted in time management. And they work with therapy. I think that's going to be a really more hot topic down the road.
You know, it is my understanding you're moving from God's country of Denver to Florida. What possessed you to want to move to Florida?
Well, it wasn't our plan, but not this early. So that's a famous question right now. My husband recently came to me and said, I put an offer on a home and we're moving to Florida. And I'm all, you did what? So as I mentioned, we've been married 18 years. That was totally out of character for him. But his father just passed away. And then one of our business partners passed away. And I really had to step back and, just not even talk about it for a little bit because I was really upset. And then finally, when I was ready, I said, what inclined you to do this? Such a big decision. Because we had it planned down the road. Remember, I'm a planner.
Yeah.
And he said, I realize life is short. Why wait? So my husband feels better out there. We love the culture. We love the beach. I mean, have you been out there? I think you said you have to Sarasota, right?
Well, I'm a California boy. Yes, I've been there several times, but I'm more California than Florida. But it's about the beach. I mean, my wife, she wants to go back to California eventually, when we retire. Or the ideal is to have California, Napa, and Colorado. So that will be in the plan. So she's a beach girl. So you must enjoy the beach.
I do. I love the beach. I love, you grab drinks and you sit on the beach and you do business, hang out with friends. And I just love meeting amazing people. And, I feel pretty blessed. I've hung out on the beach and had 2-hour conversations with someone. The next thing you know, they're one of the richest, most successful people in the world. So it's just, and you but just to meet people, I don't care if they're rich or poor. To me, it's about people who come from a place of heart. I am very specific about that and will only work with people like that. I had a company once who I turned down. They said, we don't know why we're telling you this, but we're not a good company. And I said, well, I'm very grateful you told me because I don't want to work with you. And then they said, but we're willing to pay you 6 figures a year. And I said, I don't care. It's not about the money. No, it's about good people.
That's correct. So, 3 fun facts about you. I mean, if people were to sum you up in 3 fun facts, what would those be?
I was thinking on that today too. People always find it fascinating when I share with them. In high school, I was homecoming princess and resigned. They didn't even know what to do because I say all people are equal. Another one is probably about the math I mentioned earlier, being skipped in math. So I love math. And to go along with that, it was my mom or grandma, I can't remember which one, had a little wallet when I was 5 or 6 years old. I made from paper. I mean, obviously I was already thinking about money and finance at 5 or 6. And I was pretty impressed myself. I can't even do that wallet today. I don't even know how I was able to even to do that. So.
Well, that's only 2. Come on, one more.
Oh, one more. I feel as if I've shared so much. Oh, I'm turning 40, and it's an exciting journey. I've recently won top 12 Spirited Women America, top 100 women in the world. And I'm meeting a lot of women in their 40s who are looking for support. So you never know where I'm going to combine all of it together for support for women.
Well, I've celebrated 16 40-year birthdays, so I can give you, I'm experienced at the 40, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I find a lot of women are kind of feeling lost. When we hit this place, we feel fulfilled. And, it's kind of like, what's next? And it's kind of that awkward. You're no longer a young whippersnapper, but I know you're not elderly either, but just it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
So, I mean, it leads me to I guess my last question, because, you are a female, and do you think things are changing, in the stereotypes, about women, and you're a powerful woman, and, is it getting better out there, so to speak, in the business climate for you guys? And I mean, I'm a guy, so I don't know what I'm talking
about. That is a question we could probably talk forever on that subject, Mark. Definitely times are changing. Let's go back to my story of when I was homecoming princess. I think there needs to be balance. And, men have their strengths, women have their strengths. We just need to adapt each other's strengths, but we're all equal too. And I think sometimes people are like, the man's the man. And then I've met some women like, no, the woman's the high up, okay, let's forget all this who's highs up and equal, and let's all support each other making a difference, is what I would say.
So any final thoughts before we can conclude, or any message you want to get out there as we finish this up?
Oh man, we covered so much in such a short amount of time, which was my goal and purpose for anybody watching this. Not that I can really think of off the top of my head. Anybody watching, my hope is that you were inspired some way or another, or learned something some way or another. And when I meet with each person, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about them and connect with them. And yeah, and thank you to each one who's watched this.
Well, thank you for being a part of this, Jessica. And I look forward to more stuff from the Purpose Powered people. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.